I have been trying to do fancy chicken fashion. My last few attempts have not been what I wanted. I drew my bodies first this time. I thought that would work best. So I'm going to be doing 4 types of chicken. There are multiple types of fancy chicken, so I have picked the Favarola's chicken. I'm doing a hen. I love the sass of this chicken. I am doing a Sarama chicken. This one is an Onagadori. And then we have the French and unpronounceable by my estadounidense mouth. Can't say Spanish or French, but I'm trying. Quevesure. You can absolutely correct me. Go for it. That's what we're doing. And we're gonna do the terrifying thing of going over all these bodies I worked on. Okay, I'm scared.
Pause. I was thinking at this moment about very masked bodies in feminine clothes. The first person I think of when I think of very masked people who are very masculine presenting and acting, I think of Vin Diesel.
Have you ever worn a dress, Vin Diesel? He has worn skirts. That's awesome. I love that. Let's see how well he pulls it off. It's more of a kilt, but it is. I'm down. I'm down for that. Looks like it was a long time back, but he looks so confident and happy in his skirt, and I love it. I love it. Thank you, Vin Diesel, for having worn a skirt. It makes me pleased. Pleases me greatly. Okay, going back to the chicken.
I will get back to the socialization of masculinity, femininity, and the way clothing affects it. But first we gotta talk about the French.
So the train that comes from up here is called tow train. I'm sure that's French, and I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. I know it's French because there are so many useless vowels in it. Also, they were popular during the French Revolution. I had forgotten about that, but yeah.
My main interest in fashion is historical fashion, and mostly Western historical fashion because that was easier for me to get access to when I was younger. I find that more interesting than modern fashion, though modern fashion is very cool and Billy Porter is in fact my fashion idol. I find the old school, several hundred-year old school fashion more interesting. So I did not draw this as a political statement. I rarely do draw political statements, but our bodies kind of are political statements, whether we like it or not. And I was forced to wonder eventually, as I was drawing this, if someone who saw this person walking down the red carpet or whatever would be just as excited as I was when I saw Vin Diesel in a skirt. Seeing someone in an outfit and thinking they are cool for wearing it versus the outfit is cool says something about what our culture thinks about that kind of clothing and that kind of body. Because if the person wearing the clothes becomes cool because of the clothes, it means they're bucking a social norm that we value. Positively or negatively, we care about that social norm. And this character I'm drawing now is a good counterpoint. Women in suits are rarely cool as people for wearing suits. They might look cool in them, they might pull them off well, but they as people are rarely cool for it. And it's hardly ever considered a statement. Masculinity is considered normal and femininity abnormal, and it is not considered remarkable to want to or to regularly interact with the normal. Interacting with the abnormal when you don't have to is unconventional at best and brave at worst. It can only be brave if that abnormal is considered wrong, lesser, or worse. I think it's a very good thing, and it makes me very happy to see men or masked people bucking that social norm. But that it makes me that happy is sad. Aside for anyone who gives any shame about suits, I know the brakes in her pants are too high. That I have any reason to be excited when someone considered normal interacts with femininity is just sad. And this reflects on bodies too. Harry Styles in a skirt or a dress is a lot less challenging to most people than if Chris Pine wore one. And that's mostly because Harry Styles is structurally pretty skinny and Chris Pine is not. In our culture, it is easier to see a skinny body as a feminine one. Which is not to say Harry Styles is not considered influential and probably good for the culture that he's wearing feminine clothes. He does have terrible filthy taste. You want a man who understands feminine fashion? Look at Billy Porter or David Bowie. Anyway, I'm doing ink washes on the chickens now. The Onagadori I'm looking at on my tablet, or was looking at on my tablet, had a green sheen to some of its black feathers, and I wanted to pull that into it. It also had sort of cream feathers around its head, and I wanted that as well. I wasn't very happy with how this like top ended up at first. I think I make it better, but at first I wasn't pleased with it. One thing I like about ink washes is they actually dry really fast. It's nice. You will see that the ink is kind of feathering in certain places. I think it's just the texture of the paper, not water control on this one. This gray is just thinned down black, and black is kind of hard to work with in ink because it dries fast, but it also dries a lot lighter than I always expect. The mohawk is meant to mimic the comb on the top of a rooster's head, and this outfit actually ends up being really colorful because the Onagadori I was looking at was really colorful. But I think I managed it. I think having the neutral top helped. Like, I didn't think about the colors, I was just like trying to be true to the colors of the chicken more than I was like, what will actually look good? I chose to do a purple gradient down the pants/legs because I thought it would look better with the black rooster tail, would look better with that against it than just gray. And I agree with myself in retrospect. I also made some of the rooster tails, which were a pain in the meal to draw, by the way, in purple because I liked it. I don't think the rooster really had much blue, but I liked the way it gradiented into the green, so I went with it. So here I start with the like heavy blacks, the really dark blacks on the rooster tails, and I was very concerned about it. I went really dark to start with, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to see my lines and that I had kind of screwed myself, honestly. Also that foot, I was very upset with that foot, but I thought I had kind of screwed myself, but as it dried, I could see my lines again, and I actually had to go over it a few times to make it darker because it just dries so much lighter than I expect it to. I did end up using more thinned out blacks for the most part, even though it dried a lot lighter than I wanted it to end up, because I wanted to be able to control the shapes of it and the way it sort of hit the paper, if that makes sense, in a way that's hard to do when you can't really see what's going on. I will color the skin, but it's the very last thing I did. On to the Faveroles chicken! The colorway of this chicken was brown and cream, basically. And I went with that for the most part, but I used a lot more hues and shades of browns than were actually on the chicken, because I felt like it. I really like this cane. I think it comes out looking quite cool. Whether it is a cane just for fashion or also a medical cane, that is up to you. I think it's both, but I'll leave it to you to decide ultimately. I added red to the hat and the cane because most chickens do have a wattle or a comb of some sort, and also just to break up all the browns a little bit. I think the standard straight cut suit is boring looking. Like, it looks good on people, it's very nicely cut, it looks good, but I think it's boring, and I wanted this character in a suit type thing, but I wanted it to be asymmetrical and more fun, and so I added 2 vests because I could and because I like vests, and also I added those ruffles in an attempt to sort of mimic the feathers a little bit. This darker brown does look streaky now, but it does even out. I tried to do some darker wrinkles and stuff, and I went too dark at first, but I do manage to. It takes me a minute. This is not the moment I fix it, but I do manage to make it look better than it does, at least, if not fix it entirely. Then buttons. Buttons are so important. See, the streakiness is pretty much gone now. So I add a cream color that I mixed with white and yellow to the ruffles. I mixed another color and that kind of helped even out that vest. Then I give her cream pants. They will be darker than that, but I started that light because accidental. And I will make her shoes a different color than the pants, I swear. I did her hat I did a two-tone hat. I don't know, I kind of mixed my colors a little bit wrong, and my water control was not as good as I had hoped it would be there, so the hat's gonna look a little less two-tone than I want it to. I was trying to shade the hat a little bit, and that's kind of what ended up causing problems there. Here I lighten up the shoes. I just mixed some yellow with more white, I think, or even the cream color I already had. That's kind of where I mess up the brim of her hat, and onto the skin. The skin was honestly pretty easy. It was just 3 tones of alcohol markers. I'm pretty decent with alcohol markers. I'm comfortable with them if nothing else. And to get this shot the way I wanted it, I had to move my camera setup so it's super shaky, and I'm sorry. To get the colors of skin I wanted, I just used a swatch paper and tested out a few different markers together. Alcohol markers blend really well, I think way better than water markers, water-based markers for me at least, possibly because I've used them more, but I think this muscular friend ends up looking quite good. I do leave his shoes white. I did consider he hates shoes, but I just chose to leave the shoes white because I did not want to color them. It was a bit harder to find markers dark enough that I could shade to do my 3-tone shade, just because it's, you have less room to go dark when you're already really dark. So I did manage it. I think her skin ends up looking really good. I got my base, my mid, and my dark, so I was pretty happy with it. And again, it didn't take very long. I left her with white socks because I felt like it, even though I actually really don't like when you can see socks in suits. There is white flashing here. I don't know why. I think light might have been coming through the leaves of the trees next to my window. Sorry about that. I give her black hair as well. The chicken doesn't have any black in its colorway, but black hair looked good and I knew it would, and so that was the plan from the start.